Welcome to this Java Break with Basis. Today we will present what some of our partners have referred to as the holy grail of customized software development, the ability to preserve your customizations through the upgrade cycle. My name is Paul Yeomans with Basis International, and today I'll be joined by Chris Hawkins, our project lead for add-on software. Chris will demonstrate the steps in this time-saving feature that will prevent your customers from being frozen in time. Let's review today's agenda. First, we'll address briefly the need in the business community for customized solutions. We'll talk about that concept of frozen in time. I will bring you the good news of how to get people unfrozen in time. We will talk about and indeed demonstrate the preservation of your customizations through an upgrade cycle. We will also briefly touch on what Barista also brings to your application along with this preservation. We will talk about a promotion to kickstart your efforts in moving your applications to Barista. And finally, we'll have a Q&A session and we'll address the questions that you've posted along the way to the chat window. Let's get started. Many businesses have settled for an out-of-the-box business solution and have adapted their business practices to the limitations of that software. Others have taken a similar approach, but they add increasingly complex Excel spreadsheets, all attempting to fill the information gap. Neither approach addresses the fact that all businesses are unique, with unique requirements which require customized solutions. Customizations are often driven by changes in the business landscape, from new state and federal requirements to changes in server or OS technology. Business growth can add multi-state warehousing, the expansion of distribution, or the addition of production locations. The competitive environment is another driving force for change. Businesses are required to make better use of their data in order to arrive at better business decisions in order to stay competitive and be successful. We've found that successful companies are nimble and adaptive, and that these attributes also apply to their business solution. However, customized solutions bring maintenance and upgrade challenges. But first, a quick story that you might identify with. A developer was working late into the night, rekeying customizations into an upgraded solution for a major customer. A little bored and definitely frustrated with having to redo all his work and needing a break, he gets up and walks to the cupboard to get something to eat. There, he accidentally knocks over a bottle, and from it emerges a genie. Happy at last to be freed from the bottle, the genie offers one wish. The developer thinks for a moment and then asks for a bridge from his home to the Easter Islands out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, just to be away from all these annoying clients and all this non-creative work. The genie replies that the request is really a tall order and is there anything else that he might wish for instead? The developer then asks for a simple way to preserve his customizations through upgrades to avoid all of this rework. And to that the genie responds, "How many lanes would you like on your bridge?" Well, the good news is that Barista can do this for you. Barista is a rapid application development tool for GUI applications that does the GUI for you while you focus on your customizations. Barista provides a standard framework for handling navigation, display, search, and file maintenance. The holy grail, which is the most highly desirable feature in software, is the ability for a customer to modify or customize the software while still maintaining the full ability to painlessly upgrade to new versions without the necessity of manually re-implementing those customizations. And indeed, the good news is Barista does that. Barista delivers functional GUI apps running on multiple platforms with a standard look and feel and standardized mouse and keyboard navigation. As a developer, you receive enormous productivity gains, not only in the product development, but also in future maintenance and future enhancement tasks, thereby saving you time and money. To demonstrate the ability to preserve your customizations, we'll be using add-on software, a Basis ERP solution developed with Barista. Add-on software in this demo could just as well be your customized solution. We will take a standard add-on software installation, add some customization, carve off those customizations, install and update, reapply the changes, and then ensure that the changes appear. The first step in the process is to set up a project folder apart from the base application. Chris will get us started.
Let's take a look now at how Barista allows you to customize applications and does so in such a way that those customizations are saved off into a separate project area and thus preserved through the upgrade or update cycle of the base product. To get started, we need to use Barista's Create Application Wizard. This process allows us to set up a file structure apart from our base application in which we can save off our customizations. Today we're using the add-on software product as a basis for our example. So I'm going to create a project called AON Mods. And for most of this, we'll accept the defaults that Barista provides. I will provide my own module name. I'll accept the STBL values that Barista wants to use. And then I'll create the application. This first step creates a file structure on disk. And when the file structure is created, the auto-synchronization process forwards some information. Basically, the information that we provided during the wizard is written to a .syn file and is then forwarded into the Barista config files. That's what this synchronization process will do at this step. Our project is created and ready for us to begin. Let's take a quick look in the File Explorer at what Barista has created. We will now see on disk an AON mods directory with several subdirectories underneath. In the config area, we see the SYN file. That basically is a text file that captures the information we provided during the wizard, and then several other empty folders that Barista will use to save off the customizations that we'll be making. So with that, we're ready to begin.
Thanks, Chris. So, we've created a separate project folder. In the next step, Chris will modify the vendor master form.
Our project area has been created, and we're ready to begin doing some customizations. Using our add-on example, we'll make modifications to the vendor master form. In the standard form, we see that we have a contact name, but we'll add an additional telephone number for the contact. Let's launch the Form Manager. Notice in the Form Manager that I can see not only the standard add-on modules, but I can see my new project as well. The key to doing customizations that are saved and preserved across the update and upgrade cycle is to place yourself in replication mode when you make those modifications. I place myself in replication mode by simply doing a right-click on my project area. This padlock tells me that any modifications I make to the base product will also be saved in my project area. We're going to make modifications to the vendor master. So we'll begin by bringing up the table definition so that we can add the new telephone fields that we need. We'll scroll to the bottom of the list of columns, and we'll add our two fields. We'll call this one Contact Phone, and Contact Extension. Once we've added the fields, we need to remember to recreate the physical table so that it includes those new columns. Now let's take a look in the Form Designer at our form. If we look at the bottom left, we can see that our contact phone and contact extension fields have been added, and Barista will have just placed them at the end of the columns over on the right-hand side. So let's reposition things a bit. We'll begin by taking the phone number, and we'll double-click and drag it up so that it's under the contact name. And we'll adjust the size a little bit so that it is in line with the telephone number up above. And we'll do the same with the extension. We'll bring the extension up under our new phone number. And now for the extension, we want to bring it up and over. I can do that by clicking and dragging the column over this way. And then we can take this one and tuck it up underneath. And let's take this now to balance the form and move it over to the right. In that case, I actually want to change the tab order. So I'll grab this hold flag and take it down underneath temp vendor. So you can see we're just shifting things around here to make the form look nicer. I can now bring things back down so that they line up properly. And that's pretty close. The last thing that we'd like to change here are the control labels. Let's actually make this one say contact phone and EXT. Now when I refresh the form, this looks pretty good. I think we're ready to run it. I can run the form from here now. That will save my changes. It will build the form. I'm in replication mode, so as it builds the form, it builds a copy in the standard product area as well as replicating a copy in my project area. And now we have a vendor master that is a little different. It's been customized for our purposes. We have an additional contact telephone, and we've made a few aesthetic mods as well.
Having set up the project area and added some custom fields, Chris will now use call point code to add business logic to her customizations.
We've made modifications to the form. Barista will also let us make customized call point code so that we can add additional business logic for our customizations as well. To add the business logic, we'll go into the call point editor for the vendor master form. Note that when you're in replication mode and you go into the call point editor, you can see the call point code that exists for the base product, but you're not allowed to edit that standard code. Instead, what we do when we're making customizations is that we instruct Barista to execute additional call point code, our custom call point code, either before or after or instead of the standard add-on code. What we'll do in this example is add some code so that after we leave the contact name field, we can check to see if we've actually entered a contact, and if so, do we already have a contact phone? And if not, we can provide a default phone number based on the vendor's phone number. So this call point code does that analysis, checks to see if we've entered a name, checks to see if we already have a phone number, and if not, it will supply a default. We can build this, and then we'll take a look at how our form behaves. I'll close the call point editor, and we can actually come back and run our form from the menu this time. We see our new form, and we can scroll through records. And what we should now see is that as I exit the contact name field, since I do have a contact name and I don't yet have a contact phone, one will be supplied. Just provides a default based on the main company's number. So obviously at this point I could change that phone, I can add an extension, whatever I need to do, but I now have functionality over and above the standard product. Let's take a real quick look now in our File Explorer so we can see how these modifications have been replicated. When we launch Explorer, we'll return to our AON Mods project area, and we can see in the main Barista resource folder that we now have a table and form definition here for the vendor master. And in the call point definition file, our call point code has been saved as well. So this will see to it our changes are isolated and saved off in a safe place to withstand upgrades and updates.
With the form customization and business logic now in place, it's time to modify the report code.
Let's take a look now at a different sort of customization. This will be a little different than the form and the call point modifications we've already done. This time we'll modify a report program. This will be a two-step process. We'll not only modify the form that launches our report, but we'll modify the report code as well. Our first step will be to launch the option entry form, and here we're modifying the name and address listing in the add-on vendor application. We'll begin by changing the run program in the form so that it runs not the standard add-on program, but a program that we're going to modify. Therefore, we'll save it in our own project area under a different name. So we'll change this so that it accesses our project area, and we'll call our new program name address underscore mod. We'll build this form. And now the second step in the process, we'll step outside the confines of Barista and we'll work in the Basis IDE. What we've done here is taken the standard add-on name and address listing, and we've basically made an identical copy of it first in our AON mods project area in the prog directory. And we've made simple modifications to this program, basically just to tell it to include our new contact phone information. Once that form is built and we've moved the report code into our prog directory, we can run it and see what the changes are. The form doesn't look any different. We didn't make any external changes, but remember, we've changed this form so that it launches our modified version of the report. So now what we'll see, instead of the standard add-on program, is a program that includes not only the contact name, but now our contact phone number as well. So in this way, we can also make back-end code modifications and save them in our custom project area as well.
Chris will now reinstall the customizations and will demonstrate that they have been included in the updated solution.
Okay, we've seen how to make several customizations. Now let's take a look at how we reincorporate those customizations after we've done an update or an upgrade to the base product. What we see here now is an upgraded version of add-on. So we once again have a vendor master form, but it no longer contains our customizations. This version of the vendor master is what was delivered with the update of the base product. Let's take a look then at reincorporating our modifications. We'll do that by launching the Barista install application wizard. The install application wizard will want us to locate the project area for our customizations. So we can point it to the AON mods area where we saved off, replicated all of the modifications that we made earlier. By selecting the .syn file, Barista will now be able to gather other information about the location of this set of mods, the name for it, locations of the subfolders, and so on. Next, Barista analyzes the information in our custom project area and compares that against the existing data in the Barista Data Dictionary. And if any high-level issues are detected, it will let us know, it will have us launch the report, and it will prevent us from going ahead with the install. In this instance, we see that there's only one issue found. That's a low-level issue, and it's letting us know that it has detected the fact that the back-end program that's being run by this form has changed. Well, that's a change that we made very much on purpose. That doesn't concern us as far as doing this installation. So we'll let the installation proceed. Barista will bring in the information from our application, from our saved project area, rebuild forms, rebuild tables as necessary, and in so doing incorporate our mods again. All right, the installation is completed. So we should now be able to go run our vendor master and our modified listing as well and see that our modifications are once again in place. Let's go back now to the Accounts Payable menu and take a look at our vendor form. We updated our version of add-on, and now we have reincorporated our customizations. Our contact information, our new phone number with the extension is here, as well as are the aesthetic mods that we made on the form. So we've reincorporated those by installing, using the install wizard, the information that we had set aside in our project area. Likewise, if I run the vendor name and address listing, it will run, once again, my customized version so that I can see not only the contact name, but the new phone number as well.
Thanks, Chris. This is what we just saw. Using add-on software as our example and Barista as the tool, we preserve the customizations through an upgrade cycle. As the developer, you become more productive, can now service more customers, preserve your maintenance revenue, and actually be able to justify that maintenance to your customers. Customers receive a huge benefit because they're not paying for existing functionality to be recoded into an upgraded solution. They are no longer, technologically speaking, frozen in time. New features and functions can be added to their solution through upgrades without incurring the costs of a major project. In addition to preserving your customizations, Barista also brings a long list of BBJ utilities to your application. Just a couple of these are as follows. Powerful document output system that includes email, fax, PDF, and ASCII outputs, as well as an interface with Google Docs. We've included a Jetty web server that allows you to deploy your solution across the internet. We have a role-based security structure that is easy to set up and to manage. We have a configurable audit trail. We have a save and share report configuration. We include an SQL-based inquiry subsystem, context-sensitive help. From a single code source, you've got multi-language configurability. Internationalize your solution. Barista also brings live backup capability, a built-in report writing tool, a user-based favorites list for commonly run tasks, report archiving, which will allow you to quickly recall any previously generated report. A single version of your application will now run on virtually any hardware in most any environment. To learn still more about Barista and to see it in action, I'd invite you to the Basis.com webpage. Select the Java Break icon from the homepage. We're now in the video archives of Java Breaks. Select Development Tools, and that'll take you to an extensive collection of videos that we've done in past Java Breaks that talk about the functionality that Barista can bring to your application. Good place to start would be this one right here, Barista Perks with no effort. This one and any of the rest in the archive are available to you on your time and at your leisure. So how do you get started using Barista? Well, to successfully deploy a new Barista application, the developer's client must run an Enterprise Edition license of the current Basis technology, along with, of course, Barista. Costs for deployment may require the following: a license upgrade, any reinstatement fees, the edition exchange, and Barista runtime. We've made it easier for you to get started by allowing you to use Barista without having to pay for it. Here's how it works. We've extended the Barista promotion to provide developers with a fast track to deploying their Barista application by lowering the initial cost to the customer. Let's review what we're offering. Under the promotion, you receive Barista, the Enterprise Edition upgrade, and 1 year of SAM. Basis covers the costs for any reinstatement fees, the edition upgrade, and the cost of Barista. You pay for the Basis license upgrade and the SAM coverage for Barista and the Enterprise Edition. By lowering the initial cost to your customer, we've provided you with a fresh pricing and fresh sales approach to move your customized project from proposal onto deployment. If you have questions, I would encourage you to contact your Basis sales representative or international distributor. So in summary today, we touched on the business community's need for customized solutions, the concept of frozen in time, and the good news of Barista. We demonstrated the steps of preserving your customizations. We spoke about what additional items Barista brings to your application, and we gave you a promotion and some ideas that hopefully got your mind moving on how to get started using the Barista tool. We'll now turn to your questions posted in the chat window, but first, a quick reminder to join us in 2 weeks when we return with Moving to the Cloud. And this session involves the steps we here at Basis have taken over the last year or so to move our websites, production, and downloads into the cloud. We'll now take your questions, and do feel free to continue to post them to the chat window.